Judge Althea Monroe, a distinguished black woman known for her fairness and integrity, decided to walk into her courthouse one morning without her usual fanfare, dressed in simple clothes. But as she approached the security checkpoint, her day took a shocking turn. Two security officers, blinded by prejudice, stopped and humiliated her, assuming she didn't belong. Despite her calm explanations, they dismissed her words, treating her as if she were a criminal. Little did they know, the woman they targeted held the power of justice in her hands. When the truth was revealed, the entire courthouse was left speechless, and the guards were forced to face the consequences of their bias. This incident sparked a movement for change. The courthouse buzzed with activity as officials moved briskly through its corridors. Judge Althea Monroe was scheduled to preside over a critical hearing that day, one addressing systemic injustices in the legal system. That morning, she had chosen to travel incognito. Dressed casually, her judicial robe neatly folded in her briefcase, Althea blended into the stream of commuters. It was her way of staying grounded, a reminder of the real-life struggles of the people whose cases she oversaw. As she approached the courthouse steps, the air was crisp, and the early morning rush carried a sense of purpose. Althea passed through the metal detectors at the security checkpoint, as she had done countless times before. But something felt different this time. "Ma'am, step aside," barked a tall, broad-shouldered security officer, his expression hardening as his eyes locked onto her. Althea paused, momentarily puzzled by the abrupt order. She had always been greeted with courtesy at the checkpoint, but this was unusual. "Is there a problem?" she asked calmly, her voice steady. "Empty your bag," the officer demanded curtly, gesturing to her briefcase. Another guard, younger and visibly more aggressive, stepped closer. His demeanor carried an air of hostility as he scrutinized her from head to toe. "We've been told to watch for suspicious individuals. You fit the description." Althea's stomach tightened at the weight of his words. She knew exactly what fit the description meant, the unspoken bias behind the statement. "I work here," she replied, hoping to defuse the situation. "Check your employee roster. You'll see my name." The guards, however, seemed uninterested in her explanation. "Do as you're told," the younger one snapped, his tone sharp. Suppressing a surge of frustration, Althea placed her briefcase on the counter and opened it. Inside were her neatly folded judge's robe, her gavel, and several case files. The older officer reached into the bag, holding up her robe like it was some sort of incriminating evidence. "What's this?" he asked, his voice laced with suspicion. "They're mine," Althea replied evenly, her composure unwavering despite the rising tension. "And why would someone like you have these?" The insinuation behind his words was clear. The weight of their disbelief pressed heavily on her, but she maintained her calm. "Those are my judge's robes," she said firmly, her voice carrying an air of quiet authority. "I'm here to preside over a case this morning." The guards exchanged skeptical glances, their expressions betraying their disbelief. "A judge? You expect us to believe that?" The younger one sneered. "For all we know, you could have stolen these. We're going to need more proof." By now, a small crowd had started to gather, drawn by the commotion. Whispers and murmurs rippled through the onlookers. Some recognized Althea and were shocked at how she was being treated, while others, influenced by the guard's aggression, seemed to doubt her too. "If you call the court clerk, she'll confirm my identity," Althea said, her voice measured. "Or you can check the ID badge clipped to my briefcase." But the guards seemed uninterested in verifying her identity. Instead, they continued their aggressive questioning, their tone dripping with condescension. "Step into the holding area," the older officer ordered, gesturing toward a small room near the checkpoint. The crowd grew larger, the tension palpable. Althea could feel the weight of their stares, the judgment from those who didn't know her. She took a deep breath, willing herself to remain composed. This wasn't the first time she had faced prejudice, and she knew it wouldn't be the last. Before she could respond, a voice rang out from the back of the crowd. "What's going on here?" The court clerk, an older woman with a sharp gaze, pushed her way to the front. She took one look at Althea and immediately recognized her. "This is Judge Monroe," the clerk said, her tone firm. "She's presiding over the hearing in courtroom 3 this morning. What on earth are you doing?" The guards froze, their expressions shifting from arrogance to shock. But she, the younger guard, stammered, his confidence faltering. "No buts," the clerk snapped. "You've made a serious mistake. Judge Monroe is one of the most respected members of this courthouse." The crowd fell silent, the weight of the revelation settling over them. Althea watched as the guards' faces turned pale, their bravado crumbling under the weight of their error. "I tried to tell you," Althea said, her voice calm but firm. "Perhaps next time you'll listen before jumping to conclusions." The guards mumbled apologies, their earlier hostility replaced by sheepishness. But Althea didn't linger. She picked up her briefcase and walked toward the courtroom, her steps steady, her head held high. Inside the courtroom, Althea donned her robe and took her seat at the bench. As she looked out over the room, she couldn't help but reflect on the morning's events. They were a stark reminder of the biases and prejudices that still plague society, even in spaces meant to uphold justice. When the hearing began, Althea's focus shifted entirely to the case at hand. Her decisions were fair, her judgments rooted in the law, and a deep sense of morality. But as the day wore on, news of the incident at the checkpoint spread through the courthouse. By the end of the day, Althea was approached by several colleagues, all expressing their outrage and support. Some offered apologies on behalf of the guards, while others shared their own experiences with prejudice. Althea listened to them all, her resolve strengthening with each story. She knew that change wouldn't come easily, but she was determined to use her position to make a difference. The next morning, Althea addressed the courthouse staff in a meeting. She spoke candidly about the incident, using it as an opportunity to highlight the importance of confronting bias and treating everyone with dignity and respect. Her words resonated deeply, sparking conversations that had long been overdue. Over time, the courthouse implemented new training programs for its staff, aimed at addressing implicit bias and fostering a culture of inclusion. Althea's experience became a catalyst for change, a reminder that even small moments of courage could have a lasting impact. For Althea, the morning at the security checkpoint was a painful reminder of the challenges she faced as a black woman in a position of authority, but it was also a testament to her resilience, a reflection of her ability to rise above ignorance and use her voice to inspire progress. In the weeks and months that followed, Althea continued to preside over her cases with the same fairness and compassion that had earned her respect. Her story spread beyond the courthouse, inspiring others to confront their own biases and stand up for what was right. And though the memory of that morning never completely faded, Althea refused to let it define her. Instead, she used it as fuel for her mission, a reminder of why she had chosen her path and the responsibility that came with it. Her journey wasn't easy, but it was one of purpose and perseverance. And in the end, Althea's story became a powerful testament to the strength of character, the importance of justice, and the enduring power of hope.